Good morning. How are you? It's Kirsten Liebelt. Good to see you guys. Jump on in. If you're on the replay, let me know you're on the replay. And I always forget to mention. So like if you're on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe if you want information that is very connected to insulin resistance and like all of the fallout, all of the things that maybe we're not thinking about and how you can naturally begin to go from insulin resistant to insulin sensitive, because the best news in the entire freaking world is that it's not a terminal diagnosis and we can fix this. So if I can do this as an Italian girl who had type 2 and obesity all over her Italian family, so can you. Trust me, I'm a very good case study. Very, very good. So how are you doing? Good morning, Carol. Good morning, Carla. Good to see you guys. Did anybody stay up like super late and watch the results? It got late last night. That was kind of like, I don't know, like, there you go. We just kind of lose a little bit of sleep and it's all good. So there we go. I know it's like, but I always feel like it's the least that I can do is to stay up and like watch results come in. I mean, like, this is the most amazing process in the world, that we are free to an election and that our voice counts and all of these different things. And, I remember back in, when was it that the Iraqis, I think it was after, I don't know my history perfectly well, but after Saddam Hussein was kicked out of Iraq and the Iraqis had the opportunity to vote, they went and they would vote and they would put their finger in like a blue inkwell. Does anybody remember this? Is this just me? And then that would prove that they voted and they couldn't vote again, whatever. And I remember that so impacting me, like, wow, like they were so excited to vote. And here we are being, aloof, apathetic. And I'm like, what are we doing? Like, we shouldn't be taking this for granted. So you stayed up late waiting for the results for Pennsylvania. OMG. Yes, I bet you did, Carla. That is hysterical. Yep. I know. Good morning from Georgia, Lynn. Nice to see you. Good morning. Oh, you guys, it's such a good morning. So, so I'm a little froggy. Like I should have probably grabbed some water. But anyway, I just am like needing maybe some more hydration, but I did very much want to, last night I was kind of having this thought process as I was going over kind of Suzette, good morning, what I wanted to talk about today in connection with insulin resistance. And, this is the conversation that I have a lot with people. These are things that I feel like people are not aware of, that there are connections. And one of them is gallstones. And so did you guys know this, or is this something that is known and I'm thinking that it's not? I would love to know what you think about that. And I don't want to miss anybody. So thanks for jumping on TikTok. I so appreciate you guys. We are here 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, Monday through Friday. This is what we do unless I'm traveling. And then in the group, Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women, you guys, if you don't have a place to land, if you don't feel like you have a track to run on, to be able to go from insulin resistant to insulin sensitive, to be able to have support and encouragement and ingredient trade outs and all of that stuff, we do a 5-day challenge every month. And the next one is starting next Monday, the 11th. So don't miss out. 2 p.m. Central Standard Time is when we do that. And every day next week, just FYI, we're going to do Monday through Thursday, because I will be traveling again on Friday. And so we'll just squeeze the recipe in. I remember kind of making it different one of these times, like maybe it was in August. So I'll just do the same thing again. All right. Very, very good. Okay, we're good. Lisa, good morning. How are you? Good to see you. Have you enjoyed your gut primer this morning? I had mine, Lisa. I had mine. I actually am like, I really do look forward to it now because of the, it's that ginger. I love that ginger. So anyway, okay, so let's get into this, you guys. It's good to see you. And yeah. And on TikTok, TikTok, if you guys can tap the screen or share if you find this information valuable for other people with insulin resistance. So let's just talk about the connection and we'll move on from there. So If you didn't know any of this, you had yours too, Lisa. Way to go. Good girl. I'm so proud of you. That's awesome. All right. So insulin resistance and gallstones are often linked because of the way insulin resistance impacts fat metabolism, bile composition, and overall liver health. Okay, so this is what you may not know. Here are some things that you may not know about insulin, or about insulin, about the connection between insulin resistance and gallstones. Gut health's role in bile flow. So your gut microbiome actually influences bile production and flow. So remember, we talk about our gut all the time. Lisa just took her gut primer this morning. So did I. But it literally influences your bile production. Okay. And the reason why this topic is of even interest to me at all is because of my daughter, who was pregnant with her second child. She's got 3 now. And she had gallstones. And of course, everybody's like, well, just have your gallbladder taken out. Like, it's no big deal. She's like, get away from me. I'm 8 months pregnant. I'm not going to have my gallbladder taken out. So she did 2 things. She did the 2 things that I teach. Now, it wasn't because I understood the connection with gallstones. This is why I learned it, was from this personal experience. So here she is, like white as a ghost, having 5 to 8 gallstone attacks a day in her 8 month of pregnancy. And she is just wiped out. Like, she is a wreck, right? So much pain. And so we immediately look for answers naturally. And we find out through one source to try some digestive enzymes. So I grabbed that out of my cupboard. We find out that, like a lot of the things that are in the trio, like the liver product in the trio, et cetera. And then she immediately went keto, immediately, because the research that we looked at said, go keto, like stop spiking your sugars, because there's a connection. You don't know this stuff until you know this stuff, right? So that's why this is of even any interest to me. Good morning, Kimberly. Good to see you. Very good to see you. I can see that my family's texting. They're chatting. We have a family chat. And so like my kids are 35, 32, and 29. And I can see they're chatting on my thing. I should have turned off my notifications. So your gut influences your bile production and flow. And so one of the things that she did was she started taking, we have greens, not the primer. When I talk about the primer, that's a completely different product, but we do have a greens product. And she started taking the greens because she heard that the gut needed certain things. So here we go. That poor gut health may increase the risk of gallstones and worsen insulin resistance. And an imbalance in your gut bacteria can lead to sluggish bile. Who knew that? Like, that's crazy. Then it's talking about fasting and how fasting is actually a double-edged sword, because intermittent fasting can improve insulin sensitivity. But for some people, extended fasting periods may concentrate bile in the gallbladder, increasing the risk of gallstones if hydration is inadequate. So if you're fasting, drink. Okay. Don't let yourself kind of go dry on that. Increasing the risk of hydration. Okay. Shorter, balanced fasting, like 12 to 6 hours, and staying hydrated may improve your insulin benefits without gallstone risk. That's a very good tip. Then estrogen's surprising influence. This I thought was very interesting. So women, particularly those on hormone replacement therapy or birth control, so HRT or birth control, may face a higher risk of both gallstones and insulin resistance because estrogen increases cholesterol in bile. Estrogen increases cholesterol in bile. Very fascinating. This could make women in particularly more susceptible, especially during hormonal shifts like pregnancy or menopause. Well, we all know about menopause, don't we? We all know about what's going on with that. So low-fat diet risks. You guys, this has been a train wreck since the beginning of them bringing out the thought process of having low-fat diet. Like back in the 90s, like this was the dumbest advice we were ever given, I think. I mean, I'm sure there are contested thought processes, but this was a really close number one. Low-fat diet can sometimes backfire when it comes to gallbladder health. Without enough healthy fats in the diet, bile doesn't get stimulated to flow, leading to stagnation and increasing the risk of gallstones. A diet with moderate healthy fats, olive oil, avocado, fish oil, keeps bile moving and helps prevent stones. Very fascinating. Then blood sugar spikes, and gallbladder contractions. Nobody knows this. I mean, I didn't know this. This is crazy. Repeated blood sugar spikes due to high carb or sugary meals stimulate insulin, which can interfere with natural gallbladder contractions. When the gallbladder doesn't contract regularly to release bile can become stagnant, which is a common precursor to stone formation. That is fascinating. And this is what we talk about all the time. So in talking about insulin resistance, the more that you are continually spiking your sugars and calling on insulin and your cell is resistant and saying no more, we've learned to live like this. This is the cycle we've been taught in America. And I know that other people from other countries listen in, but it's very common in the United States to have, it's called the standard American diet, and it's total trash. Do you remember the other day I was telling you about how, so I was just in Orlando over the weekend for a business conference, and I went to the deli that was there in the hotel. It was like in that resort area, and everything in that entire deli, and they had like shelving over here and shelving over here and a circular thing, and then they had the coffee station where you could buy like a Starbucks, but it wasn't Starbucks, and you could get a latte or whatever. But then it had the refrigerated section and whatever. There were, I think, and I'm not even lying or exaggerating, the way that I eat and the way that I teach you guys is grain, sugar, and legume free. Okay. All right. That's kind of, hey, good to see you. Thank you so much for the likes. I appreciate you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Bianca. I appreciate you. So I go there and I'm like, well, I'll find something. I really have gotten to the point where I figure like, I'll just figure it out. I'm not going to worry about it. I was going to go ahead. I was going to buy my snacks. I was going to put them in my luggage. I do that for business conferences. Like I have a thought process because I know I'm going to be sitting and maybe I'll get a little hungry, whatever it is. Right. You have to understand, like, this has been a process for me. So it wasn't like overnight that this happened. It was like I was just shy of my 51st birthday when I really started to take control of my life. So there's hope for everybody because I'll be 60 now in January. But I've gone from insulin resistant to insulin sensitive, and I've lost 3 sizes now in my 50s. Okay. So I've practiced. This is all just practice, you guys. This isn't about, you're just like, you're lame and you're a loser and you don't have any willpower. No. You are practicing a new routine. And when it comes to, if you can view things through the lens of insulin resistance, I'm telling you, everything changes because it's how you can actually finally lose weight. It is a hormonal conversation. So if you're stuck, let's have the hormonal conversation. Insulin, cortisol, GLP-1, ghrelin, these are all hormones. Okay. So I go to the deli, I look around, and these were the things that I was able to actually purchase. I could have done a salad, like a Caesar salad, take off the croutons, right? Because, do that. And then they had Baby Bell little soft cheeses. And then I did see some packets of peanuts. Now, peanuts are legumes, so I actually don't do peanut. I could eat peanut butter all day long, like by the spoonful. But peanut butter is not a protein, it's a fat. FYI. And it's a legume. So I typically don't. But in lieu of not having anything available, I grabbed the Baby Bell cheeses. I grabbed a little packet of peanuts, and I took those into the conference, and that served me really well. That was great for that day. And but otherwise, shelf upon shelf upon shelf upon shelf upon bar upon bag of snack chips upon literally everything. They even had cooked oatmeal in like a little crock potty thing, and they had cooked grits in another crock potty thing, and like everything in that deli was something that I was going to choose not to eat. We are inundated. We are immersed. You have to understand that this is not, how do I say this? Because I am a high responsibility person. I really am. Like, We have responsibility for our actions, but I just want you to understand the impact of the indoctrination that has come from marketing, from companies, from, like they're just trying to get you to think that eating oatmeal is healthy. But when you're insulin resistant, no, it's not. No, you have to change things that you're doing in order to get different results. And losing weight is just a side benefit. Like, don't get me wrong. To us, it's the first benefit. Like, we all want to lose weight first. But for me, yes, that's number one. That's actually why I started to do things, because I didn't want my weight to increase even more, because I was a 2X and I didn't want to do that more. So that I didn't do it for my health. Don't be confused. I didn't. However, the benefit now that I sit here with is I'm 59. I'm not type 2. I'm the only one to have avoided type 2 in my family. And I'm on no meds. And that to me is a big deal, right? That's a really big bonus benefit of having taken the time to just learn a new few tricks. Okay. But the blood sugar spikes and the gallbladder contractions that we're talking about in that one little part is we're constantly eating carbs. Like, I could have gone to that deli 3 times that day, thought that I was eating healthy, and that would not have been true at all. Nothing could have been further from the truth for what they were offering, because it's just, but that's normal. That's everywhere you go. So don't be so hard on yourself, and recognize that, you know what? I did have to pause. And I was like, okay, so let's see. What can I grab? What can I grab? What can I grab? What can I grab? It took me a minute. It wasn't like it just dawned on me. So good morning, Claudette. Oh, hi, friend. Everyone's having a great day. It's just so beautiful. It is a beautiful day. Yes, it is. Very good to see you. You say that to yourself, not having willpower. I know. And you have to stop that. Yeah. Oh, you're fine, Lisa. No big deal. Thank you, Greg, for following. I so appreciate you. You guys are amazing on TikTok. I really love you guys. And we just have to recognize the world that you're living in and stop being so dang hard on yourself. And then let's just get some tips and tricks in our toolbox. Get some tools in our toolbox. Okay, so because you are repeating your blood sugar spikes over and over again, you're stimulating insulin, which can interfere with natural gallbladder contractions. Who knew that? That's crazy, that now that you are spiking your sugars and you're calling on insulin over and over and over again, and it's literally affecting your gallbladder contractions. Nobody's telling us that. Like, who would ever have that conversation, right? When the gallbladder doesn't contract regularly to release bile can become stagnant, which is a common precursor to stone formation. So if you don't get your bile like moving, and that was a part of my daughter's realization. Oh, I've got to get more bile created. So she immediately started taking greens so that she could create more bile, so that she could break down what needed to be broken down. And then she started like really ingesting digestive enzymes. Okay. So this was her 8-month pregnancy conversation, because she didn't want to have her gallbladder removed. Okay. And then the last one was vitamin deficiencies. So deficiencies in certain vitamins like vitamin D and vitamin C can contribute to both insulin resistance and gallstone risk. Low vitamin D levels are linked to insulin resistance, while vitamin C helps convert cholesterol into bile acids. Come on. Nobody would know that if we did not do our own research, become our own advocate, take back our own health, do our own, go down our own, pathway. Like when my daughter had her gallstones, she immediately started researching, because you have to do that for yourself. Converts cholesterol into bile acids, preventing gallstone formation. Regular exposure to sunlight, vitamin D rich foods or supplements, and foods high in vitamin C, such as bell peppers and strawberries, can make a difference. Okay, so those 2 supplements alone, let me just give you a little tip. I don't have it next to me. You do not have to go and buy vitamin D that is synthetic. Like the vitamin D that when you guys are ordering from me and you're grabbing the vitamin D that I have, vitamin D K2, it's sourced from mushrooms. It's natural. And it's like 30 cents a day for 2,000 IUs. Like, give me a break. You don't have to go to the drugstore. You don't have to go to Walgreens or Costco or Walmart or whatever and buy something that's synthetic. thinking that that's your cheapest option. That's not always true. So I just want you to know that. So if you're looking for a good vitamin DK2, I can help you. It's sourced from mushrooms. But then I posted this chart the other day, and it was all of the highest ways that you can get vitamin C, like naturally, and oranges, and it had like a chart of all and how many milligrams per whatever, per serving or whatever. The two highest were, oh man, I'm going to get the number one wrong. I don't remember what the number one was, but the number two that literally blew everything else out of the water, acerola cherries. Can anybody guess what my vitamin C is made out of? Acerola cherries. So I'm just telling you, there is vitamin C and then there is vitamin C. Like there's a big difference where things are getting sourced from. And again, you don't have to like spend a fortune to get a really good, and I'll tell you what, this is a side note and then I'll move on because I didn't mean to talk about this, but I have an immunity pack that has a vitamin C in it, extended release, and echinacea, like 3 little echinacea. And I keep it. My husband will not allow me to not have it in the house. He's like, excuse me, we're getting low on the immunity pack. Could you get that ordered, please? Because we will have this on us. So anytime we're around people that have maybe sniffles or whatever, or maybe we feel a little scratchy going on, because, like we travel and maybe you get on an airplane or whatever, you just in a larger group of people, you know what I mean? Or the grandbabies, the cute little grandbabies, they go to Sunday school, they come home, maybe they've been, with other kids. We all know what this is like. And you kind of start to feel something. The second that happens, I take the immunity pack, and there's 20 in a box, but I'll just do like 2 a day. And most of the time I only need to do that for 2 days. It just blasts it right up because the vitamin C is so potent, and the echinacea is like everything's from organic stuff. So anyway, okay. So I'm going to move on with that because that just is a little side note. So that is how that is working with the different little lesser known facts about insulin resistance and gallstones. So how insulin resistance and gallstones are connected, don't you wonder, like, why are these even connected? Why is it that insulin resistance seems to be the foundation of freaking everything? Like we can't get away from it if we tried. So then why aren't we having the number one conversation in the universe? Insulin resistance, insulin resistance, insulin resistance. Everything else seems to stem from that. Like this. Like what is that? Right? So impact on liver function. Insulin resistance leads to metabolic stress on your liver. So if you're on my content, you're insulin resistant or you think you are. And if you're type 2, that is insulin resistance. It's kind of this broad terminology. So I know some people go, well, I don't know if I'm insulin resistant, but I am type 2. Then you're insulin resistant. So insulin resistance can look, it's kind of like a spectrum. You can look like I'm barely insulin resistant, like I'm just starting to get my belly fat going. And like I'm just, this is curious. That's one end of the spectrum. The other end of the spectrum is you're type 2, you're insulin dependent, you're on tons of meds, etc. Like it's this whole thing, right? So everybody's in a different spot. That's why you have to think about your own factors. But it will lead to stress on your liver, metabolic stress. And it's causing fat buildup within your liver cells. So you don't have to answer me. I mean, you can if you want to, but who has been dealing with or knows about fatty liver? Guys, it's all connected. It's all freaking connected. And aren't you glad for those of you that are on the trio, that are taking the trio supplements, the 3 supplements that have the 3 ingredients that help with insulin sensitivity? How happy are you that one of them is for your liver? I'm just saying. Causing fat buildup within liver cells, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. This excess fat alters the liver's ability to process cholesterol, which is a primary component of bile. When bile becomes too thick or too concentrated with cholesterol, gallstones can form. Hormonal influence. Insulin affects hormone levels and bile production, influencing bile flow. When insulin levels remain high due to resistance, bile secretion can become sluggish or imbalanced, leading to gallstone formation. Insulin resistance also affects estrogen, which in high levels has been linked to higher gallstone risk. Good morning, Barb from Iowa. Good to see you. You felt less bloated and less inflammation 3 days after starting the trio. Kimberly, that is amazing. Thank you for telling me that. I so appreciate you saying that. So less bloated and less inflammation 3 days after starting the trio. And they look like this. This is what I talk about all the time. I started these a little over 10 years ago, you guys, and I still take them to this day. So this is what they look like. They're 3 simple little smaller pills. You take this one 3 times a day, and these 2 are twice a day. Okay. And that's simple process, right? But each one has an ingredient that helps with insulin sensitivity. Good morning, Brenda. Good to see you. Oh, snow? You have snow? I'm sorry. Where are you, Brenda? Remind me. Snow. No. I don't like to hear that. I'm in Minnesota. I missed the first snow, though, because we were in Florida. That doesn't ever happen. Maybe I'm just going to declare that it happens all the time. Every year when it snows for the first time in Minnesota, we just happen to be, I know it's a bad word, Lisa says, we just happen to be in Florida. I'm just going to declare that. Colorado snow, lots of Colorado snow. OMG. I'm sure it's beautiful, though. Honestly, I'm sure it's absolutely beautiful. So again, when your insulin levels remain high due to insulin resistance, bile secretion can become sluggish or imbalanced. So what's happening is, remember, years and years before it shows up in your blood glucose levels, you could be insulin resistant and you have no idea. So they're waiting, the providers, the matrix, the medical matrix, they are waiting for it to show up in your sugars. So they're testing you, and they're testing you, and they're testing you for your blood glucose levels. And in the meantime, your sugars have not risen and stayed high yet. But your insulin has been being released and released and released by your pancreas over and over and over again to get that glucose into your cell, And after a while, your cell goes, closed sesame. I am done. I am stuffed like a turkey. I am toxic, and I have closed my doors. So now your pancreas says, well, I must need to make more insulin. Release. And it's trying to get everything to work. And after a while, it just can't do it anymore. And the sugars go like this, and they just keep on rising, right? Well, insulin is a hormone. So it's saying that when your insulin levels remain high because it's resistant and it can't get it into the cell, that's when you have this bile issue that's happening, and it becomes sluggish, imbalanced, and it can lead to gallstone formation. So insulin resistance also affects your estrogen, which in high levels has been linked to higher gallstone risk. Okay, so this is a hormonal conversation. When you are insulin resistant, it's domino affecting all of your other hormones. This is why this is such a big conversation of stop thinking it's about calorie in, calorie out. Stop thinking that it's about counting points. Stop thinking about that it's about eating in balance only. Stop thinking. And then why don't you know that you're insulin resistant? Why aren't you being tested for that? Why aren't you? Oh, you know what, Kimberly, I'm going to put that up because that's really cool. I have to remember to put that up on my screen when I can, because that helps other people. So, and the slow bile flow and cholesterol. High insulin levels increase cholesterol production in the liver. In people with insulin resistance, cholesterol can accumulate in the bile, turning it thicker and contributing to gallstone formation. I'm a geek, man. I think this is so fascinating. I do, because it's like, oh my gosh, if we just have these basic understandings, just think about how we can like shift things. Every single conversation that you and I have should make us say something like this. I should get my insulin down. I should get my sugars down. I should find out how to go from insulin resistant to insulin sensitive. That's my goal. we want to have a lot of other goals, and I get it. Like, we're paying attention to a lot of other things. But the primary core root, the root of the big oak tree that goes way deep into the ground and it like spreads over to the neighbor's yard underneath the fence, it's the hormone insulin. Let's deal with the insulin hormone first before you try to lose weight, before you try to deal with your cholesterol, before you try to deal with, like you're patching all of these symptoms, when if you just changed your lenses and you looked at everything through insulin resistance, everything. Oh, the turnaround. And how long is it going to take? I don't know. You have your own set of circumstances that are unknown to me and maybe to you. You have to think it through for yourself as to how you're going to like puzzle piece your stuff together. So I just talked to somebody yesterday, and she kind of gave me a litany of what was going on. And I said, it sounds to me like because you're talking about psoriasis, because you're talking about, I can't remember some of the other pieces. There were, lots of prescription meds. And maybe there was something else. And I said, I think we need to deal with your gut first. Your gut sounds really messed up. If it's showing up on your skin in psoriasis or eczema or whatever, I am not a doctor. I won't even pretend to be one. I'm not a dermatologist. This is just me, Kirsten, the Italian girl who figured out a few things. I used to have eczema all over my arm. I used to get it eye patches in college. Like, had I understood that that was a gut issue, that could have really helped me, right? So I'm like, let's back up and let's rethink this. And let's, if you will deal with your gut, let's get you on the gut primer. Let's get you on the probiotic, because then, and again, like I tell you this every day, it's not a greens drink. It looks like one. Just the powder. It looks like one, but it's not. It tastes like tea, but it has digestive enzymes and a prebiotic and postbiotics and alkaline spices and fermented greens and fiber from the extracts of fruits and vegetables. It comes off of organic farms, all the good things, but it primes the inside of your gut. It's a very comprehensive conversation. So if you can begin to do something like that, you will change the ability of your gut to be able to absorb nutrients. And remember, we talked yesterday about your gut is your esophagus, your stomach, your intestines, and your colon. It's not just your tummy. It's your esophagus, your stomach, your intestines, and your colon. It's from here all the way out the bottom. Okay? It's everything. And so when you can begin to absorb nutrients as you are taking your supplements, as you are eating your food, it can be a total game changer. But then at the same time, if she can bring down all that inflammation, because what do you think all the scripts are doing? Causing inflammation. Her body is telling her, thank you so much for all of the likes, Angelina. I appreciate you very much. Think about how if you have something showing up on your skin, that is, your body is talking to you. Help me. Like, I'm not something is not like, it's kind of like a little bit of a siren going off. And your body's trying to tell you that it needs help because there's a lot of inflammation going on. There's a lot of, maybe you're leaching nutrients. Well, insulin resistance leads to leaky gut. So let's fix the insulin resistance issue, right? So I'm just telling you, like, there's a thought process that can be super simple and super streamlined for you. This does not have to be very difficult, but you do have to take a few steps to shift it out. You had eczema on your elbows and ankles and now they're gone. Carla, that's amazing. How long ago was that? And then what did you do to make it go away? I would love to know, because I wish that I would have known that. Like, that was back in my 20s. And no, in my 20s, it was on my eyelids. And it wasn't until I was in my 40s. Okay, in my 20s, it was on my eyelids. In my 30s, it started to be all over my arm. And then in my 40s, it was on my arm again, because I think maybe I got it to go away and then it came back. And I, at the time then, was working at a medical clinic, and I asked a doctor and he's like, oh, you just need a steroidal cream. And I used it, and of course it went away. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's magical, not knowing that steroids are not helpful. I mean, they're helpful, but they're not long-term thought process. Nobody ever talked to me about my gut. Like, why would you talk to me about my gut? That didn't, that would never happen. So anyway, so things that you can do, how do they develop actually? So they develop because of your diet and your lifestyle factors, high sugar diets, refined carbs, and they meaning gallstones. Processed foods contribute to blood sugar spikes. Weight and body fat distribution, central obesity, and excess belly fat are major risk factors for gallstones. The more visceral fat around your organs, the higher the likelihood of both insulin resistance and gallstone formation. And then not having enough healthy fats. And so that's very interesting. And I love talking about, so as we talk about it here, we're talking about the liver. We're talking about visceral fat. We're talking about insulin and sugars. Like, this is why I talk about the trio every single day, because it's coming at things from many different directions. So if you're on it, you should understand what's happening when you're taking it. Like, and don't slow down your routine. Even though you can't see certain things, you can't see your liver getting better. You can't feel it. Although I have had some people who have had fatty liver with pain, and then they can feel that go away. But for the most part, we don't feel our visceral fat around our organs. We don't feel our liver not functioning properly. We don't feel our insulin being high. We don't feel certain things, but you can, that's why a lot of you get tests done and then you tell me. So Carla says gut primer, alternating sauerkraut, prebiotic over 2 years. So I just want to clarify, Carla, and if you don't have time, that's okay. Because I always think about things like, because I want clarity on. So you had eczema for the last 2 years, and it just recently went away because of taking the gut primer, a probiotic, and sauerkraut. Is that kind of what you're saying? Like, I just want to make sure that I'm getting that straight, because it's true. Like, Jen Walker, thank you so much for sharing. You are amazing. I appreciate you so much. Just think about this though, you guys, like, the only answers that we ever get are drugs, scripts. It's so dang frustrating. It's so important to me to teach people how to fish. You have to learn how to fish. You have to learn how to become your own advocate so that you're not dependent and reliant. And so that you have enough information and knowledge so that when you go to your provider, you go, yeah, that's not the answer that I'm looking for. And since I pay for my appointment with you, whether it's through my premium or my copay or both, or out of pocket or all three, or high deductible or all four, or I'm the consumer, that answer is not working for me. So I'm either going to find another provider who is okay with some alternative thought process, or I'm just going to leave and do it on my own, or whatever. Like, do you get what I'm saying? Like, we have to start to think this way. Since June. That's amazing, Carla. That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. So basically, and correct me if I'm wrong, Carla's saying that for 2 years she's had eczema. Hold on. I think I have to tap on this one to go up there. Eczema on her elbows and her ankles. Okay. Elbows and her ankles for 2 years. And then since June now, it has gone away. She's been taking the gut primer. Well, you might have been taking the trio at one. I don't remember though. I only say that because the gut primer wasn't launched until August. However, she's been taking the gut primer. She's been alternating sauerkraut and taking a prebiotic and now it's gone. So do you understand, by taking something for your gut, You can shift things. And I'm sorry, it's not enough just to eat yogurt out of the store. It's not when you're really trying to turn around your gut. I wish it was. And even in listening to, oopsie, I want to take that one off. When I was listening to that documentary on the airplane on the way home from Orlando this last weekend, and they were talking about how, there is store-bought yogurt. Of course, you can buy Greek yogurt and have the cultures, they said, but it is far more superior to make yogurt at home. Now, I don't do that. My daughter does. It's actually super easy. I just haven't taken the time. But they were saying that the cultures that you can get in your own homemade yogurt, and just thinking about the fact that you have your own bacteria in your own home, like it's a super interesting conversation. Because we have lost species in our gut over the last 70 years. The species in our gut microbiome in the United States of America is very little, as opposed to somebody in this study that I was watching in Tanzania. They have a very, very large diversity of species in their gut microbiome, and we have very little because of what we've done through our diet. And through all sorts of things, all sorts of things. Like it's our agricultural practices. It's our, the way that we cook food, the way that everything is highly ultra processed. All of these things are affecting us. And just think about it, like all of the drugs that we take, and we're just a medicine answer society. So we've messed up our guts and our diversity. Now we've actually killed off species. So we have to do things differently, and it's not enough anymore to just be like, well, you should eat sauerkraut and kimchi and, Greek yogurt, and you should do all the things. It's just probably not enough if you're really trying to heal your gut, for somebody who has some, whatever. So that's why I talk about the gut primer. What is the name of the study, Raquel? So it was a documentary on the airplane, and it was a master class, and I don't know. I actually don't know the name of it. It was just an offering on the airplane. Okay, so the trio and then the gut primer. Also tweaking and switching out your nutrition. Love being here. I love you, Carla. I love it so much. I want to tell you the reason why I love Carla's journey so much, you guys, is because when we finally take back our own bodies and we stand up, we literally rise up and we say no more. You guys anybody can think whatever they want about the election, etc. But this is what's going to happen with RFK. You guys, he is a threat to every major corporation and how they allow all of the toxins and the chemicals and the food dyes into our food in America, but they are banned in Europe. And that nutrition roundtable that we've talked about on here, like 4 hours long, and you can find it, I think, like on YouTube. I think it was Senator Rob Johnson who put it on. We have to hold these companies accountable. You want to tell me that something is heart healthy or something is good for my kids or my grandkids and it's total trash? We should not have to research the crap out of every freaking ingredient on a package just to make sure we're not feeding poison to our grandbabies. This is stupid. And then in Europe, they actually take action and they just ban the ingredients. So when we rise up and we say no more, we're not going to take it anymore of you guys marketing and lying to us, of you guys telling us that we're supposed to be eating, whether it's through your provider telling you can have 150 grams of carbs a day and you're type 2, or whether it's a food company that tells you that this is actually, diabetic friendly, and it's like total lie, etc. We have to be able to do that. So with Carla, what I love about this is that she finally just decided at some point that she was going to take back her own body and take back her own health and become her own advocate. And there are a lot of naysayers in the world. There are a lot of people in the world that'll say, kind of almost like, who do you think you are? Doesn't look like you're doing very good on the outside. And here you are working on the inside, and it will show up on the outside. I promise you, it'll all show up. It'll show up in your skin. It'll show up in your as you begin to burn fat off of your body in pockets that you're not showing anybody anyway. So you have to be okay with living inside of yourself and being proud of yourself. Okay. So here she said she had eczema on her ankles. I want to get things straight. I don't like to say things that are wrong. Elbows and ankles for 2 years. Okay. Elbows, ankles for 2 years. In June, she started taking the trio. Those are the 3 supplements right here. She starts taking these because there's a connection with everything. Okay, so insulin resistance, you want to go from insulin resistant to insulin sensitive. So she starts taking the trio. The gut primer gets launched in August. I'm not positive if you started it right away or not, but she started taking the gut primer right here. It's a daily GI primer, like you would prime your walls for painting or your face for foundation. Same concept, bringing down inflammation, helping nutrient absorption, helping like to make your ecosystem an alkaline because it has alkaline spices in it, helping your liver health because of the fermented greens, prebiotics, postbiotics, like the whole thing. And now, guess what? Gone. After 2 years, gone. Eczema on her elbows and on her ankles because she worked from the inside out. And nobody else around her may know or care, but she cares. And instead of going to the doctor and getting another steroidal cream, which I don't know if you did that or not, but that was me. I went to I was like working with the doctor and I'm like, I got eczema all over my arms. And he's like, here's a steroidal cream. And it was amazing, right? But that should not have been the answer. This is stupid. Oh, Deborah, good to see you. You only have a few minutes because you have an appointment. No problemo. Good to see you. Carla says she's standing tall on the inside. It's going to take time, and I have started having better sleep. Oh, that is so good. The eczema was painful because my shoes rubbed on my ankles. Started the gut primer. You think you started it before I did? Yay! Good for you, Carla. Oh, that is so good. So you did start it like right away in August. Good for you. I'm so good, Deborah. Good to see you. I hope you're doing well also. So just honestly, you guys, it's the little things that just like, we just want to function, right? We just want to not have to think about stuff like this. We just want to enjoy our life, not have to buy shoes that fit a certain way so that it doesn't rub on something that could potentially be fixed, something super simple. You're welcome, Deborah. You are welcome. So basically that is, the whole of it, and it does talk about how you can supplement. And you really do want to do things for your liver is really the answer. And so if you are a greens person, that's fantastic. If you've never taken regular greens before, I do have a good greens product. It's certified organic. It's amazing. That's what my daughter was taking with her gallbladder. So if you need to up your bile, you can do that. My husband takes our greens and he actually adds it to his primer. He does both. This has fermented greens. The greens are just regular. And so the primer is probably the most beneficial, comprehensive, and there's not a probiotic in there. So if you ask me for a cart for the gut reset, the cart will have the primer and 2 probiotics in it. So you can choose one of the 2 probiotics because you don't want to kill the probiotic by zhuzhing up your primer. So, but you can always send me a message and I'm available in my inbox. You wonder, does that work for psoriasis too? Well, Raquel, that is the conversation. So I was just talking to somebody yesterday and she was talking about her psoriasis and all of the different scripts that she's on. And I said, you know what, let's shift course with what you're doing. And let's work with your gut first, because what's showing up on the outside is starting on the inside. So again, I'm not a doctor. And I did not have psoriasis. I had eczema and Carla had eczema but I'm going to assume we're talking about a very similar conversation. Now, if that's something that you want to try and that doesn't work and whatever, it's 6-month guarantee. So literally this is the least amount of risk you will ever take because nobody on the face of the planet that I'm aware of, you correct me if I'm wrong, has a 6-month guarantee. Nobody does. Nobody's doing that. So anyway, so it is possible. And Raquel, I put my site up there so that you can either portal over to IG and get into my inbox over there and message me, or there's a number on my site that you can text me at and just tell me, say, hey, I was on your TikTok live. I'm the one that had psoriasis and I would like to try the gut primer and a probiotic, and let's see if we can't get that fixed. And I'd be more than happy to help you. But anyway, and so that's what we're going to do for today. I feel like that's a really good conversation though, around just another connection, yet another connection. Insulin resistance and gallstones. Like seriously, you guys, isn't that interesting? All right. I am going to let you guys go so that you can get on with your days. It took our bodies a long time to get to where we are. So it's going to take months to get things healthy again. And that is 100% true. And, you know, I always want to tell people, okay, if you want testimonies on the trio, right, go to my Instagram page. At the top, there's a pink highlight bubble. Go look at it. Look at all of the testimonies of the trio. Sugars coming down, A1C coming down, weight being lost, etc. Okay, that's amazing. There are people who get fast results with things. Of course, I'm going to post all of the results that I get. I'm going to post everybody's testimony. That if you type me a testimony, I'm going to screenshot it and I'm going to put it in my testimonies because I want other people to know. But there's no way to consider everybody else's factors. And the truth is that this is about you giving yourself permission. You have to give yourself permission to go on a journey and to not require your body to fix itself fast. It might, but don't require it. Otherwise, you're going to give up on it again. Don't do that. Your body deserves time to heal. Your body deserves a journey. Your body deserves like some love and some kindness, some kind words that you speak over yourself. It deserves a lot of things like that. So don't think about where you're going to be by Thanksgiving, although that's, you know, a good, like, wouldn't that be great, right? To lose a little weight before Thanksgiving. I get it. But think more in terms of where do you want to be by the spring? Where do you want to be when the flowers, when the tulips come up? Where do you want your journey to go? Like Carla, starting in June. So, you know, June, July, August, September, October, she's 5 months into the deal. And I don't know all of the benefits that she has, but what she has said, right, just today, is that her eczema after 2 years is gone on her elbows and her ankles. So that's a sign of her body saying, I'm going in the right direction. We're going in the right direction. And doesn't that feel good for once? Instead of spinning your wheels like a hamster on a wheel, and you're like, I'm just throwing spaghetti at the wall and I have no idea how to even gauge what's happening. And most of you will choose the only gauge that you've been taught, and that is the scale. And that is such a travesty, because you're going to think that the scale is telling you all of your answers like a freaking crystal ball. And I am telling you, that is BS. Your scale is not telling you how your gut is healing, or how your A1C is coming down, or how you avoided gallstones, or how the liver fat or the intestinal fat is going away, things that you can't see. And the scale is just a frustrating, I got rid of mine. I think it's been at least 6 years now. I had started measuring myself. Carla says, Kimberly, yes. And why we're here. Repair and repetition is awesome. We are unique in self-advocating. For once in my life, I'm beginning to love myself and my decisions for myself. That is worth gold. Gold. And I want you to 5 years from now say, remember that Kirsten girl? And she told me like how to be patient with myself. And she told me like, if I would just actually believe that I could fix things from the inside out, like God gave us answers. And God, I wonder what happened to her. I wonder where, not because I died, because that's not happening. But you know what I mean? Like, because the internet moves and it flows and whatever. And even like on TikTok, I always tell people like, follow me if you want to know stuff about insulin resistance, or you want to be encouraged, because I'll like disappear into the algorithm. And you know how that works now. We've been on social media long enough to know how we lose touch with people, right? Because things are moving fast. Absolutely, Carla says. And it's just the truth. And it's like, you just really do want to be proud of the decisions that you're making for yourself. And you don't have to tell anybody anything about the conversation you have in your head about how maybe you are assessing your own food triggers, or you're assessing, you're working on talking better to yourself. You're working on, like maybe buying different things for your pantry. You don't have to tell anybody anything, because you're going to have negative Nellies, and you're going to have naysayers, and you're going to have people who, they just really have a big opinion about what you're doing, thinking, or saying. It's like blah, 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 blah. Right? So we don't have to do that anymore. And you can just take care of yourself. So if you need a cart for the trio, you can put trio in the comments if you're on Facebook or YouTube. And otherwise, anybody can get into my messenger or my inbox on Instagram. Those are the places that I can send links. If you need the trio, if you need the gut reset protocol, if you need both, I can do that for you. Barb says, thanks for painting a picture of what goes on with our insides. When things aren't working right, I'm ready for the change. Carol, have a wonderful day. That's wonderful, Barb. Thank you for saying that. Thanks. I'll do that. Yeah, you guys are awesome. Thank you, Barb. You're awesome. And I'm just telling you, like, one step at a time, you guys. Okay, like, let's nail November. Let's nail December. Get into the group, Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women. This is why I put this up here on TikTok, so that you guys can go there and find the Facebook blue button. We're going to start our challenge on Monday, okay? We'll do ingredient trade-outs. We'll do a recipe. We'll do all of the things and get you, like, encouraged for November. And then we'll do another one in December, because we know that we need to have – I love that, Kimberly. You're so sweet. You're amazing, and I'm blessed to have found you. I love you, Kimberly. Thank you. But we can take down November. We can do it with a moving forward mentality. And then we'll do another one in December. And then, you know what? November and December probably aren't going to be perfect, but at least maybe what if you could land on your feet in January, and then we'll take it to another level. We'll accelerate in January again, right? Let's accelerate into the spring. So let's just kind of do this journey thing together, right? And I'm telling you, you can make such a big difference. So, all right, everybody have like the most blessed day ever on the face of the planet. And if you need anything, reach out to me. It's why I put my contact information out there, so you can be asking for carts. You can be asking for products that you need to be switching things that are going on in your body. And let's just crush the holiday season. Okay, let's crush it like you've never done it before. You'll be so happy that you did. So, all right. See you guys later. Have a beautiful day.